Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Money Goddess podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Thomas-Bridges, and today's episode, I think, is going to change your life for 2025. What I am talking about today is your inner circle and who you have around you. I am going to be teaching you how to make high value female friends. If you are listening in and you are a male, all of this will still apply. You can take this information to transform not only your personal life, but this is going to magnetically propel your life in the profession that you have, whether it's close friends, associates, if you're thinking about your hobbies, whatever. This is what's going to take you to the next level. And it's something that is not always talked about as much as I think that it should be covered. And as the money goddess, you know, I'm always going to talk about wealth. And one thing I can say for sure is that the people you know are a part of your wealth. Let me say that again. The people you know are a part of your wealth circle. And if you are not careful, you will find yourself depreciating because you are an asset, okay? So if you're around the right people, you are going to appreciate and value. If you're around the wrong people, you will depreciate in value. And you can take that in whatever way you want. I want you in 2025 to treat yourself like an asset. You are a company, a corporation, as an individual. Okay? So that means you have to decide who is going to be a part of your company team and or who does not need to be in that company. So you may have to let some people go, you may have to bring some new people in, but I'm going to help you to attract those high value people into your life by getting real, raw, and authentic with your own self. For those of you who are watching live, hello, hello. I'm so happy to have you here. I am the money goddess. We are digging in and talking about our inner circle. This is going to appreciate our value or depreciate our value. So let's go ahead and dig in. Now, I want to tell you that you are like the 5 people you hang around the most. Whether it is people that you are hanging around in person, online, what you're listening to, what you're watching, this is going to determine your overall value. So, why does this even matter? Because you are going to become whatever it is you are constantly consuming. And you want to take this opportunity to consume or bring around the best of the best. I know this can be very hard because some of you may be thinking, well, I don't quite have the high value friends that I would like to have. I can't get around or in certain circles just yet. Listen, it only starts with one person. So, an example of this, when I first started my personal development journey, I would read certain books, listen to certain podcasts in order to get around the energy of the type of people that I would want to become friends with. Even if you just start there, that is going to help you to get into that right field of potentiality. So I want you to think about what you are consuming, who you are around, and is this actually helping you to become the best version of yourself? It's very easy to think, oh, I've been friends with such and such since I was 5 years old, so I should just stay friends with them for the rest of my life. Listen, that is not how you are going to accelerate. That is not going to bring you to your next level by just keeping people around. You want to evaluate your friendships. I want to say that again. Evaluate your friendships. I typically do this for sure once a year, but if possible, I look every quarter as I am going forward and I'm thinking, okay, is this person really helping me to grow, right? And if they're not, then I need to look to see why I am having them around me, because you have to determine, is this a toxic relationship? Am I keeping this person because I want to have my comfort zone? Or am I just really afraid to let go because I don't want to be lonely? There are so many reasons why we hold on to friendships that are no longer serving us. And we want to get to the nitty gritty. So now I'm going to give you some action steps of things that you can do. So first, as I already mentioned, you do want to evaluate your circle. You want to create what I call a pyramid of friends. So in your pyramid, if you would, you can take out your journal and draw like a pyramid, and you'll notice at the bottom of the pyramid, these are people that you may associate with, whether it's in clubs, hobbies that you have, a gym buddy, something along those lines. Then as you go up, these might be people that are your actual friends. And as you go closer, you'll notice those may be the people that are closest to you. They really, really know you, intimate details about your life. And the top is you. So you get to choose on those three levels: your associates, your friends, and the people who are closest to you. And you are at the top. Who gets to have the most access to you? What we're doing in 2025 is not giving everyone that C-suite, right? Because the closest to you, that's the C-suite level. Remember, you are a corporation. Those people closest to you should be the only ones that have that access to you. They have worked to gain and earn that access to you. It's not just something that you gave them right away because you were available. I want you all to really sit down and decide, am I giving people too much of myself and they have not earned it? Now, even if this is dealing with friendships, I want to even bring this to relationships, because a lot of people enter relationships and you have not even made a person be on the bottom of the pyramid. They're not even a friend. And now they have all of this access to you. You want to make sure the people who have access to you have put in that work. You all have built a bond. You know that you can trust them without a doubt. You're not just allowing any and everyone to enter into your space in this season. We are growing past that. There are levels to having a friendship with you, because you know the value that you bring naturally. You know how good of a friend that you really are, and you deserve to have that reciprocity. We want to make sure that the people that we are pouring into can pour it back into us, because we are no longer just being these people that give our value away for free. We give our time away for free. Do that from your heart, because that is what you feel called to do. But a lot of us in our friendships, these relationships, we're doing all of this extra service and they are just sitting there benefiting for free. And that is no longer what we're going to be able to do. We are now stepping into an era where we are expecting the people that say they love us, the people that say they are, our friends and our close people, they are going to have to step it up in our lives in order to stay at that level. There has to be work done. If they're going to be in the C-suite and even call themselves a friend, we have to have higher expectations or they get bumped down to the pyramid level. And there is nothing, or the pyramid bottom level, there's nothing wrong with having associates at all. But we want to be clear that we're not moving people into friend categories and C-suite, which is the closest level, without them having to do that work. So I want you, as you are journaling on this, in your pyramid, I want you to think, what do they contribute to your greatness? What do your friends do that actually help you? So I know for a fact that I have at least one friend that I know really helps me emotionally. If I'm going through something, I can pick up the phone and call them, and I feel like they would give me some sound advice. I have another friend who is more so someone that I like to do things with. For example, if we're up leveling together, like right now we're working on fitness. So we didn't even tell each other we were doing this, but now, we actually did today. And I'm like, okay, like I love this. I love having a friend that I can do this with and not necessarily do it alone. So there are people in your life that are going to contribute different things, and you might need different things in your life. Your friends or your closest friends are not going to always give you everything, right? I sometimes, if someone has like just, one friend ever, it makes me worry a little bit, because it's like, okay, but there are other people out there who may be able to contribute more to you, and you're thinking and putting all that pressure on one person. That's a lot. So you want to, and I'm going to talk about this more a little bit later, I do want you to open yourself up to different people, and they may not be the closest to you, but having those other friends and associates can also benefit your life. Now, I want to point out that you still need to be a good friend. Even though we're talking about how those people contribute to us, we want to think about, what do we naturally do in our friendships, or what do we naturally do as a people that helps others or inspires them, just being who we are. So I know me, I am a teacher. I love to share insight of anything that I know. And I'll give you an example. When we have friends over, like if they say they have a certain problem, I'm like, oh, well, XYZ. And I help them problem solve. It can be something as simple as like, I eat a vegan vegetarian diet, and someone was saying they wanted to start that. I'm like, okay, come to my refrigerator. These are the things that I buy. This is high protein. Like, I'm always teaching people everywhere I go. It doesn't matter if they ask me to teach them or not. That is just a natural thing that I do. Another thing I do is encourage and inspire. I'm on here doing this as a part, of course, of my podcast, but as a friend, I naturally inspire and encourage people. I uplift them. I tell them that they can do this. I invite them to do different challenges with me, or even Bible studies. I mean, it's just who I am as a person. And I know the value that I bring, because there aren't many friends out here that are inspiring people to be their greatest. There are a lot of people who are just being, basic, and they don't want to grow. They don't want to pivot. They don't want to do those things. But I naturally bring that out of my friends, and they want to be better. So because I know that, because I know how much I have helped my friends in those areas, I might not expect them to do that for me, because that might not be their gift, but they may have other things that they do naturally that really does propel me forward. And I'm always going to be thankful for that. And I'm going to see, okay, you know what? I appreciate this, and this is going to make us go further. I also want to point out that you do have to nurture your relationships. There's something that I notice in terms of people becoming friends too quickly, is that people are not always putting that effort into friendships, especially as we get older. And I do understand, we get busy. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm an educational consultant, I'm a radio and TV show host, I'm a fitness baddie. I'm doing a lot of different things at once. So I get that. But I think that it's important, especially as women, to nurture your relationships. That might mean, hey, let's schedule in a weekly chat, or hey, let's go to the gym together. Let's do this, let's do that. Now, some of your friends may live across the country like mine do, but I think it's important that if people are going to be, especially in your C-suite of friends or just a friend in general, you have to put that time in. And if you notice that people are not making an effort for that time, you may not be a priority to them. And in your friendships, high value friends prioritize the people that are important to them and that make an impact. If you notice that you're not a priority to people, then you need to move on, and they will go down to the associates category, and you might not put as much time with them. I heard Haley Gamba say this. She is a YouTuber. I can't remember which video she had, but she was like, reward inconsistency with unavailability. And I thought to myself, that's what a high value woman would do, just a high value person in general. If you are not consistent with me and putting in the time or the effort to be a good friend, to be in my life, and I am trying to do that with you, then I'm not going to be available when you need me. That's not fair. That's not how the world works. So if we're going to be that high value friend ourselves, we have to do what we need to do to propel ourselves forward and have the right people in our lives that are really going to nurture what it is we have. I want to make sure that you all understand, as you elevate, there are going to be less people that should have access to you, and that is totally okay. The more access that you give people should be the more work that you all are able to put in. Everybody can't put in that work that you might be able to put in, because everyone is at different seasons and you can have a different level of understanding. However, you want to make sure that you are well aware of your elevation. So all the people you might have had 20 years ago that are your best friends, or you grew up with them on the block, whatever it is, the role that they play in your life and what you all are doing is going to look totally different now that you have other things going on. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes we want to just keep things the same, and we don't want to accept that change. We don't want to let go of that person. But that is the only way we are going to grow and we are going to advance. If you notice that you are beginning to lose more friends, and not because of like cattiness or arguments or anything like that, but just they kind of fall off, and it's just like it's not, the connection is just not there. Listen, that is making room for the right people to come into your life and add value to your life. I can think of so many people that have begun to add value in my life, especially in my work field. They bring my name up in certain settings, just like I bring their name up, right? If I notice something's going on, an opportunity, and even if I can take it, I still let them know, like, hey, like, look, this is available. This is something you might want to look into. That is going to make things better for you. So don't worry about those who are not showing up, who aren't where you would like for them to be in your pyramid. The right people will be there, but don't hold that space. Don't hold that space for people that don't want to be there. Let those who want to be there come in. So I'm going to tell you something that I know changed my life. The right people will also add value. And then I have an example with my husband. So my husband and I, we've known each other for almost 15 years. We didn't start dating until about 10 years ago, and then we were engaged, we broke up, we got back together in 2020 during the pandemic. And I want to tell you, he came in bringing so much value to my life. I literally quantum leaped with the value that he brought in. Okay? It was a monetary value, it was a protection, it was an elevation. The things that I wanted to do as a single, and I was like, God, like, why am I having to wait on this? Why am I having to wait on this? When he showed up as the best version of himself, and I showed up as the best version of myself, everything just went for us. It was like boom, 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 boom. We purchased a house together in the middle of the pandemic. That should not have been possible. We also were able to purchase a car together. We were able to start businesses together. And my own personal business also quantum leaped. When the right people come in, they add to your life, not take away. So I want you to think about who is adding value to your life and be grateful for them. Let them know. But if you notice that people are just here and they are taking from you and they're not adding, they're not reciprocating, they're not giving that love that you really need, because everyone is different. Everyone has their own needs that they have or want to have met. Keep that in mind and don't feel bad about it. You might be a person who has more needs when it comes to friendships versus others. You might just be like, hey, and bye. And that might be enough for you. Be authentic to yourself and know what you need. And don't just let people say things like, oh my gosh, we're besties and we're this and we're that. Let them show you. Let them show you. They have to show you that as opposed to just talking the talk. Let people walk the walk. And that is going to really, really let you know who is it and who isn't. So what I'm going to do is end off on this piece of the episode because I don't want to spoil the next section. I'm going to go into the nitty-gritty details. I'm talking about healing. I'm talking about how to become magnetically attractive, and then how to open yourself up to bring the right friends into your lives. Because these are steps that I know I didn't learn from my youth, and these are things that I have learned going into adulthood. And now in my 30s, the way that I move and the way that I do things is different. Especially if you are not around a lot of people. Like, yes, you may have your work friends, you may have people you communicate with, but our lives kind of become centralized whenever we have to have that focus. And we don't have a plethora of people that we can meet every day like maybe we did when we were college students or in high school together. So I want you to be ready to tune back into this when we come back. You guys, I really, really want you to stay tuned because I promise you, this is going to change your life. This is going to up your money. Okay? Your net work is your net worth. So you want to make sure that you are part of that. Stay tuned. If you want to manifest 6 figures and beyond, you should join my Money Honey course. Go to shesworthy.org to learn more. To the Money Goddess podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Thomas-Bridges, and I'm so excited to be sharing this episode with you. This is the part 2 of the previous episode that we just left off. It is actually a segment. Sorry about that. So you probably just listened into part 1 if you are listening on the radio. If you are here with me live on YouTube, The Money Goddess 333. Hello, hello. You can go back and check out that previous one. It will air on December 31st. So let's get into it. We are talking about making high value friends. This can be used even if you are a male. However, I'm going to be speaking to the female audience. I think in my opinion, with men, I think it's a little easier to kind of find friends. I think men are a little more like simple with their friendships. At least that's what I found in my experience. Versus as women, sometimes our friendships can be a little difficult to navigate because of the seasons we go through. And, we're just a totally different species. So I am going to be digging into how to make those high value friends. I have lots of tips and just some story time of my own reflection and my own process. So, what you want to do, as I shared in the previous segment, get out your journal and just kind of take some notes to do some deep inner reflection. And I'm recording this at the end of 2024. And so, you will want to. You'll want to use this to your advantage. So let's go ahead and dig into it. So first off, I want you to reflect on what isn't working in your friendships. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here. First thing, reflect on what isn't working in your friendships. So, as you are journaling in on this, is it that you feel like you're not able to nourish your friendships? Is it that you found that you've outgrown your friendships? Maybe there are certain people that you used to hang with in the past, but you feel like those people are not where you are. I really want you to get crystal clear on what isn't working for you. We all grow, we all evolve. And please don't feel bad if, you were friends with someone in one season and then in another season you found yourself being friends with others. It is totally okay to go through those changes. Don't feel like you should hold yourself back or feel a level of guilt if you are progressing forward, but the people you used to hang with aren't. So really just dig deep and then even think to yourself, am I a good friend? And am I in a season to be social, or is this a season where I have to pull my energy back and work on certain things? There is a season for everything, and some people can't balance the way that they used to. Maybe they have a family, they have a spouse, they're adjusting. There could have been traumatic events. So really just look at your friendships and think, what is happening here? Hello for everyone that is joining in. Welcome, welcome. Now, when there are things not working in your friendships, I also want to encourage you to heal. There could be moments in your friendships where you're still carrying hurt from years ago. Maybe your first best friend that you ever had gossiped about you in the past. Listen, I want you to do some deep digging. Look within yourself and decide, listen, I'm still hurt about whatever it is because it might be there. Were you bullied? Were you picked on? Does that make you not want to make friends? Sometimes I know for myself, I want to be very honest and very transparent. Like I'm moving into a season where I really don't know if I want to have close friends. And when I say close, as I shared in the previous part of this episode, I said in your journal to make a pyramid. At the bottom of your pyramid, these are associates, people that you know. The next level up are your friends. Then you have your close friends. And then you have like people that are at the top with you. Okay. There, for me, I am finding that having close friends is not as easy as it used to be for me. My expectations have changed and my vibration has changed. So there are some people that I would rather just, hey, we can be a friend, or hey, we can be associates, because to get to that level of intimacy in a friendship takes a lot for me. I have, and I would encourage you, find out your human design too as you are healing. Your human design is going to tell you your authority. What's your signature? What's your strategy? So for me, I am an emotional that's my strategy. That's what I work with. That's what I'm charged with. And I also thrive on responding. So if I'm not getting action coming my way or that reciprocity from people, I'm not living my most satisfied life. So consider that. Check out your human design because it can show you how to navigate relationships, how you navigate your career path, and all of those things. I do have that information in my Money Honey course. If you ever want to dig into human design a little bit deeper, you can go to shesworthy.org to see what all is inside of the Money Honey course, because it's more than just human design. It is a revolutionary opportunity for you to change your mindset around money, wealth, and empowerment for your finances. So I really want you to dig deep and see how you have changed, what you need to heal from, what energy might you need to let go of, because you, at the end of the day, whether you choose to have close friends, associates, whatever, you still want to heal. We all need each other. We all need to collaborate in some way, but you have to know where people are positioned in your life, what type of access that you are going to give people to you, and how to move forward. So the more healed that you are, the better you can attract people who want to be in your life. They're going to be more high value, because if you aren't healed, you're going to be bringing in all types of people that are pulling your energy, and they're not helping you go to that next level. So I really want you to think deep about that, and I want you to let go. Let go of friends or circumstances that are no longer serving you so that you can propel yourself forward. The next thing I want you to do in attracting your high value friendships is to write out what you want for each level in that pyramid. So, an example for me is if you're at the top of my pyramid, and I look at that pyramid as a business entity, who do I have working in certain levels? If you're at the top with me, you're the person that I'm going to have hard conversations with. I'm going to tell you how I feel about things. And that the people that are at the top with me are my son and my husband. Okay. My mom is not even up there, because I've learned in some cases, some people can't handle certain conversations. And sometimes even my spouse might not be able to handle the conversation at the time. But because we are in the same vicinity, because we're working together, we have a child together, I'm going to go through things that are a little tougher. I'm going to have tougher conversations with him than I would with other people outside of that. Now, for my close friends, things that I might want is, hey, we check in on each other maybe on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, or even monthly if we're busy. Hey, we nourish our friendship. We might not be able to talk every day or as much as we did in the past, but we're still close, okay? Versus people that are just like friends, like lifelong friends that I will always have. Look, I don't expect to talk to you often, but if you call or you text, we're going to chop it up, right? If I see you out or you want to go out to dinner or something like that, cool. Then my associates, I really don't have too many expectations with them. I will see you when I see you, and that's that. Right? So I encourage you, write out what you expect from each level of your social life, your friendships, so that way you know what you will or will not tolerate. And I would also encourage you to clear any limiting beliefs that you might have with friendships. So one limiting belief that I'm working through, as I mentioned, like I may not want to have close friends because this year I lost one of my best friends. Like they just randomly kind of stopped talking to me, and it was very hurtful for me. And then another friend we just kind of didn't see eye to eye, and it wasn't like a big blowout or anything like that, but it shifted how I feel like I need to interact and work with them. And so that's why I'm like, do I really want to have close friends, that I talk about very intimate, things with? Do I want to do life with them, right? Because I'm giving my energy to them. And I want to be very clear. When you invest in your relationships, these people are getting your energy. And sometimes we might be giving so much energy to the people that really, they don't mean us well. And in some cases, even if they do mean us well, they're also healing themselves. So we might get parts of people that we didn't deserve. Like, you really have to be clear about what it is you want and what it is you would like to see and how you can propel that forward. So I'm working through the limiting beliefs of, I can have close friends. I just have to make sure that they earn their spot. Because in the past, I believe that I have let like people in, even though I've tried to vet as best as I could. Sometimes it's better for me just to let people gradually work their way in, let them show me. And I know a lot of it has to do with my social friendliness. Like, I'm a social butterfly. I'm super friendly. I'm fun. I love to talk, so it makes it a little easier for those people to bring their way in. But I really want to work through, what? I attract the best high quality friends. I always have a good time with them. I am social. I love being around others. I am just really working through that. So any limiting beliefs you have, listen, I want you to follow my pattern that I always share. Write out the limiting beliefs, turn them around, and debunk each thing, right? Share and find evidence that this is not true. Then you turn it into positive affirmations, listen to it for 90 days and see the results. So that is what I'm also doing as well, because I want more good women around me. Let me be clear, high value women that want something out of life. They're not settling for the status quo. They're not just sitting here on their hands and not propelling themselves forward. Like, that's not going to work. They have to be working towards something. And I know everyone isn't going to be me. And when I say that, I mean, we're not all going to be alike, right? We're going to have our differences. That's the beauty of friendships. But they have to be wanting the best for themselves. So after I have listed out what I want from each level of those friendships, this gives you a clear sense of where people stand with you. You want to know where you stand with people. You don't want to walk into a relationship where you aren't clear and then you wind up getting hurt, or you're feeling a certain type of way because you had a specific expectation and they didn't meet it. Now, the next thing, listen, y'all, this is the real tea. Okay? This is the real tea. Here we go. Become magnetically attractive. I really want to make sure you all understand that if you do not have high value friends, it has more to do with you than it does to do with other people. And that's because you have not become a magnet. To become a magnet to high value friends, number one, you need standards. And you need standards for yourselves. Forgive me, guys. I noticed that I have some lip gloss issues. Plus, I'm drinking tea. So, anyway, you will want to have standards for yourself, right? What are your standards for your friendship? So for me, I believe it's important to be there for your friends. Now, that doesn't mean that if we're talking about the same problem for 20 years, I'm not doing that, right? That's my standard. After we talk about something 3 times, if you have not taken any action on whatever it is, we're done talking about this. Like, I'm not going to listen to it. That's my standard. And even for myself, if I'm constantly in someone's ear and I'm talking to them about something and I haven't made a change or a shift, no, we're not doing that. So, what are your standards for yourself as a friend? What do you do for your friends and what do you give to them? Okay, that's going to make you more attractive for the right people because you're clear on what you do. I know also I'm a teacher. So everything that I learn in life, look, I'm here on this platform. I'm always helping others. I just cannot help myself. That is my calling. That's my gift. That's something I do super easy. So if there's something I know, I'm always going to help. I'm always going to problem solve. If you're going through something, I'm going to help you take action. That's just me. So because I know that is not a norm. Most people don't have that to do. It's not natural. So if you're going to be in my environment, if you're going to be a part of my pyramid and you're on the higher end, you're going to have to do some things to either reciprocate what I do in my standards, or you're going to have something that's also useful for me as well, because I know what I'm bringing. Now, another way to become attractive for those friendships and high value people is to have your boundaries. A lot of us don't have the best friends because we don't have boundaries. We let any and everybody in. We let people have access to us that should not. Another thing that I've also noticed in our friendships is we allow people to keep doing the same thing over and over and over. I'll give you an example. I have a friend that I'm not as close with as I used to be. But in the past, this person told me that they have been friends with people for years and years and years. But they really aren't all that. And they keep doing the same types of things and showing this person how they are. But that person continues to be friends with them. Hello? You're blocking your blessings of good new people to come into your life because you're so caught up in, oh, we've been friends for so long. Those are my people. No, listen, I get it. It is hard. But as I mentioned, you let that go. If you're constantly holding on to people from your past, listen, it is not going to work. You got to have boundaries. And if you are feeling that space of friendships and closeness with people who are not making you a priority, that's a problem. All of my friends that I am now considering close, if you don't make me a priority, I'm going to do what Haley Gamba said. And I believe I said this in the first segment. You reward inconsistency with unavailability. I am unavailable for people who are not making me a priority. This is not a multiple choice test. Either I am or I'm not. Because I know who I am as a friend and I've always been a good friend. And I want to make sure you guys are aware of that too. We can set the tone and say what we want in friendships, but if we're not that good friend ourselves, we're not going to get that back. And if we do, we're not going to be able to keep it and maintain it because we will self-sabotage. We'll have habits that will push those people away. Now, let's talk about habits that we have. What are the habits that we have as friends? Where are we putting ourselves? Are we positioning ourselves for those high value friends? I'm going to talk about things you can do to meet more high value friends, but I have met a lot of my friends here online. With my podcast, I've had my podcast for almost 7 years, and I've met a lot of people through podcasting. I've met people on TikTok. I've met people especially on Facebook and being in Facebook groups. Where are you going to find better people? Are you joining certain clubs? Are you joining organizations? Are you finding them in schools where you're bettering yourselves? Are you in courses, classes, whatever? Where would high value people be? The high value people are not out at the club. Okay? I also have found high value people in my neighborhood. That's the beauty also as well of this, is that the high value people they can be in so many different places, but I want you to sit down and think, where would most high value people be? And am I ready to be in those spaces? And if I am ready to be in those spaces, am I putting myself in a position to meet these people and to want to be around them? Is my vibration that of the high value people I'm looking to attract? So the next thing also is your vibration. Now, if you have not healed and you haven't let go of the past, listen, I can tell you right now, your vibration is low. I can tell you that already, because you are still holding on. You have baggage. You're trying to walk up a mountain with tons of baggage from year after year after year of not letting go of the things you've gone through with friendships. There are a lot, especially as women, our friendships are like breakups sometimes. Like, if that's our girl that we've been like close with, it's hard. And we may shield ourselves from forming those new friendships or going out with people because we haven't let go, because we haven't healed. That's how we raise our vibration. So I want you to put that into practice. Make sure healing is a priority. The next thing in raising your vibration to become magnetically attractive is, what are you consuming? Are you consuming that of what a high value woman would consume? That means what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're reading, right? Are you elevating yourself? Are you putting yourself in a position so that your business can thrive, your career can thrive, all of these things? And I have a friend I was just telling earlier, I went out somewhere and it was in a high value setting, but what I realized is sometimes in those settings the vibration can still, some people can still slide their way into high value places, but their vibration is just not there. And I was sharing how shocking it was. It's like, wait a minute, like, what kind of place is this? So you got to know who's real and who's fake in those settings. You got to know who's for you and who isn't. And so when you make sure your vibration is where it needs to be, like attracts like, and you'll bring yourself around the right people. Now, I want to encourage you to open up to meeting those new people. I have learned a lot of people, especially, so I'm in my 30s. I'm a married woman. I have a baby. It's very easy for me to say, I don't have time to meet people. But I do. I make it a priority. How you can meet people? Online. Let's talk about online, because I think that's something people don't even think is, especially if you are on the older side, they kind of dismiss that. They think, look, I'm past my college days. I might have a few work friends. I don't go out. It is what it is. But I encourage you, when you get online, join communities. Like I mentioned, podcasts, there are book clubs. Even if you want to start your own book club. So in my community, we have a book club. You can go, even if you don't, like, let's say you want to meet up face to face, you can go to like maybe your local library. There are civic centers. If you're a business person, if you're in real estate, go check out your chamber of commerce. See what type of meetings that they have so you can get around the right type of people for you. You guys, the connections that you can make, even if people are just associates, you never know who can really help you and who you might become close to. So do keep that in mind. Make sure that you prioritize. I would say at minimum once a month, I want you to prioritize some sort of socialization that is outside of your comfort zone. If it's a networking event, do that. Even in online communities, sometimes what I'll do, like if someone comments on something or we share the same opinion, I'll reach back out to them and say, oh my gosh, this was similar as well. And just let it be organic. Organically meet people. And if it's meant to be, you guys will wind up being friends and you can help each other out. Now, guys, this particular episode is It sounds like it's shallow, but it's really elevating you, because who you are around is who you are going to become. And if you don't like the people you're around, then you're not going to like who you are becoming. So do keep that in mind. Now, for those of you tuning in on YouTube Live, be sure to subscribe. I am the Money Goddess 333. You can find me there. I have plenty of other videos. If you also are tuning in via podcast or on the radio, make sure you find the Money Goddess podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I love you guys so much. I hope this was helpful for you. Please feel free to email me, shesworthy2017@gmail.com, if this was a resourceful episode for you, or even if you really are going to go out and experience new friendships, build social circles, because 2025 is a year of connectivity, and we have to go out there and put in the work to meet those high value people. Love you all so much, and take care.